Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Halifax Raiders Drafted Glory franchise mode here in NHL 24. Now, I quickly want to remind you guys just before I get into this episode that the next 3 episodes are going to be pre-recorded. As I mentioned before, my grandmother is in town, so I do not want to be recording videos while she's here, so I'm going to have 3 videos of this series pre-recorded. So on on Monday, Wednesday, and I guess on Friday. And then in terms of my Jet series, also there'll be 3 episodes that are pre-recorded. So the entire week's content will all just be pre-recorded episodes, but that doesn't mean you guys shouldn't comment. You guys could definitely comment because obviously it's really fun to interact with you guys in the comments and see what you guys are thinking about specific things I do with the team. So yeah, still comment a lot on the videos, but like I said, there will be pre-recorded episodes next week. But anyways, in last episode, if you didn't catch it, we were taking on the New York Rangers in the second round of the playoffs, and unfortunately, we suffered the same fate as we've always suffered, which is second round exit. We've never been to a conference finals, and we are nearing the end of the series, which is kind of crazy. So honestly, I'm kind of stuck in a sense of what we want to do with this team in terms of getting it to that next round and to a Stanley Cup win before the series ends. But all I could really hope for, I guess, is if a lot of players that used to play with us that we'd let go of are back in free agency again. Like, for instance, we lost to the New York Rangers who had Owen Gove. If Owen Gove is in free agency, maybe he's the type of player we could target to bring in as a starting goaltender or a backup goaltender. But hopefully there's other former players out there as well, because it would be nice to start adding some players back into the fold from the past, just to kind of give us maybe a bit more of a boost in a way. But also we want to integrate some younger guys into our lineup as well. So there will probably be some players that end up leaving our team this offseason, and we might bring back some former players if there's any available. But anyways, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about our second round exit. So our first comment is from Logan May, who says, "Don't be afraid to go up against the cap. Sign both big names. Try 85%, then 90%, then 95%. You have the space this year to sign everyone. In Logan, we trust. You have been unlucky. Keep trying, and the cup will come." And yeah, I think we are going to try and sign the big names. So the big names being Lasik and Sea-Doo. And we will try, obviously, 85, 90, 95. But I probably will have them on short-term contracts, just because, obviously, we don't want to sign them too long-term and then they just completely drop off and then they're kind of more very bad cap hits for our team. Because if we look at Lasik, right now he's wanting a lot of money. I'm hoping when we get to the re-sign stage it drops down quite a bit. But if we were to try like 85% on this, we'd probably still be paying him over 10 million bucks, which is a lot of money for a guy that's only listed as an exact top 6. So we will probably try and still lock him up, but not for super long term, because if he's 29, I probably would give him like a 3-year deal, just because he's kind of like, who knows what happens if he just randomly drops off, because he was a very good steal when we drafted this guy in a second round, but he could be like an early retirement and just start to drop off quite a bit. So hopefully we could get him back, and hopefully we could also get guys like Sea-Doo back, who are also demanding quite a bit of money. The next comment is from Samurai Taku, who says, "Aside from injecting some youth into the lineup, I truly do not know where you go from here. Let go of Burkov, Lasik, Anderson, and Sea-Doo walk, I suppose. Maybe it's also time to move Ahinen and Lehman down in the lineup and give Del Rivera, Habscheid, Richter an opportunity to play in the top 6 alongside Wilm, Weber, and Hamalainen." And yeah, I think that might be also a good plan, is also if we do let go of Lasik and let go of the other guys as well, that we could probably give like Ahinen and Lehman maybe more of a reduced role with this team in a sense, because you could see Ahinen's down to an 86, Lehman's down to an 88, so giving guys like Hamalainen, who are kind of more future players, they're still very young, they should maybe get a better opportunity within our lineup. So we might readjust our lineup a bit, and Ahinen might be like a third line center. Richter might be up above him, even though he's much lower overall wise. We know that Richter can perform quite well. The next comment is from Ian.Nolov, who says, "First of all, Lasik, Sea-Doo, and Anderson has to go. If somehow we can catch Gove in free agency, we must sign him. If not, goalies should stay as they are. Michelli should stay in the AHL. Could you possibly build the best AHL team possible? I know you're prior NHL, but shaking my head, progress is a must, but the no chemistry boost down there, maybe new coach hired. Furthermore, if you want to be signing for your ELCs, please pay them under league min, like $950 or $975. youth injection is highly needed, and finally we need to hunt for left defensemen, offensive defensemen, and center forwards, potentially playmakers, but high quality of prospects, please. New year, same struggle. Owen is basically tased to smash us in second round. Heads up though, maybe it will be our year. Don't forget about coaches and scouts. And yeah, so we might replace our AHL coach. There is a chance of that, obviously, because the AHL team didn't have the best chemistry, but they did still have a good roster. Likely everybody on that AHL team will come back for another season, and who knows, maybe Sharov is back down there in the AHL for a change. But we might have some guys actually jump to our NHL team, like Boucher could be getting close to being an NHL-ready player as early as next season, and he is a playmaker, if I remember right. Yeah, so he might be that type of guy that we need to get into our lineup to help out with the offense down the middle. So that should be enticing to see if he gets up to the NHL at some point. But we also do have Hartman, who's a sniper, so some more guys to drive the offense a little bit. We don't have that offensive defenseman really, other than like, who was it? Actually, we don't really have one. We do have a bunch of two-ways and stuff like that, but I'm hoping that maybe we could get some of them into our blue line this season. If not, we might have to wait for another year. But we also do have maybe a youth injection with the goaltenders, so that should be enticing. Obviously, Sims is also going to get signed to his ELC likely to play in the AHL, so we'll have 3 medium elite goaltenders, which means I think we might honestly let go of like one of these goaltenders. Like people were saying Burkov. I think Burkov would make sense as well, considering the fact that he's in 88, he doesn't really sim like a playoff goaltender. He does have RFA status, so we could qualify him and hope that another team approaches him with an offer, which honestly could happen. So we might honestly qualify him, and then Solis could end up being maybe our starter next season. If Burkov, we could take compensation, but we need to have the cap space. If we have the cap space available, we'd have to sign him as the thing. So we'd want to hope that we don't have the cap space technically for him, but it'd be the closest thing we could do to like actually trading a player, I think. So we might have to run into a situation like that this offseason if we want to. And then he was also mentioning about when we sign our players to our ELCs to sign them to like 900K and stuff like that. Technically the league minimum is not the league minimum. Technically going down to the league minimum isn't going to do much. Two-way contracts don't really affect your cap hit that much. So I'm okay with giving these guys over $1 million if that's what their ELC entitles. Going down to like 875, I don't really know if we really need to do that. But obviously we could try and do that. I don't think it's going to really help our cap space that much. I know one-way contracts do a lot, but two-way contracts, I don't feel like they fully affect your cap space that much where it's actually going to hurt our team in a way. The next comment is from Michael Dose, who says, maybe there's a curse naming a team Canadian, and maybe there is, who knows, because of the fact that obviously like in real life, no team has won the Stanley Cup since the Montreal Canadiens in Canada here. Maybe that's why. Maybe we shouldn't have been in Halifax. Maybe we should have been in, I don't know, Kentucky or something like that. And maybe we would have already won a Stanley Cup by then. And then the last and final comment is from Jacob Leone, who says, since you have the cap space and about only 10 years left of this franchise, I'd definitely vote to keep the big names on like a short deal. Maybe a year or two to see if they drop their asking price from year to year or until some players develop and want bigger money. Also, young impact players will be hard to draft with that playoff caliber team at this stage. So mostly what you have is what you get. Still praying for a saucy puck moving defenseman to step up. And yeah, that's true though. We don't have really enough time to really develop a lot of prospects in. So even if we do draft maybe an offensive defenseman, there's a chance that they might not make the NHL by the end of this series, which is not great. But yeah, I totally agree with your opinion on signing those guys to short-term deals, because obviously it's better just to see if their asking price drops, because if they all of a sudden drop off a cliff production-wise, you're not overpaying on them from the long haul. So we will definitely try and get Lasse Concedo back on cheaper contracts, and we will also probably do maybe 1 to 2 years on a contract for them and just hope that their price actually drops off quite a bit. Because eventually we are going to have to sign Del Rivera back up here in a few years. So I kind of want to have the space for Del Rivera because I feel like he's still kind of an important player to this team. But obviously maybe we need to focus more on defense than offense, something like that. But yeah, that is that. So let's get into this draft. I don't really know too much about this draft yet, but we will definitely take our time with this draft. So once again, this might be a little bit of a longer episode, but like I mentioned beforehand, the next 3 episodes will be pre-recorded. So the season simulation, if we make it to round 1 and round 2, those will be also pre-recorded. So just a heads up about that, but make sure to still comment because I do read your guys' comments, and I obviously want to interact with you guys when I have the chance to. But let's take a timeout. Actually, no, it's not. We can't even take a timeout when it's not our pick. But let's take a look at this draft class again, just to see what is out there potentially. Where are we drafting again? Isn't it like 23rd? I gotta make sure. Let's see, 23rd. Yep. And yeah, I still hate how our ratings literally say we have the strength and everything, yet it doesn't seem like, because we never get it done in the playoffs. Like, maybe we are too good of a team. Because I know when, like, recently Tugi has been playing my 1999-2000 roster build on stream, and I know that his team, he had it really good, and it was never actually winning the cup. But then once he actually went to what EA wants, which is more like your first 3 lines are good offensively, and then your 4th line is kind of like a grind line or a defensive line, and then you have like a mix of defensemen out there, it really helps out a lot. Obviously, we still need that OFD and stuff like that, but he definitely kind of made his team more balanced approach, and he actually ended up winning a cup because of that. It's a little bit of a spoiler if you actually watch his YouTube videos, but watch his streams instead. So yeah, 23rd overall. Let's see, what do we have around 23rd? We're probably going to get interrupted by Tampa in a little bit, but let's see. Len Riley. We do need centers, but I would prefer to prioritize defensemen, but there's like high top 6D supposed to go around this stage, so we might want to just look at the steal categories. Like, I feel like this guy's not actually that good. There's a center, potentially playmaker, no guaranteed playmaker. This guy could be top 6 as well. This guy's guaranteed top 6, and he's a sniper. Maybe we'll pin him at our pick. What else we got here? Harry McCarron. 3 years out, top 4, but like 3 years out is literally half of what we have left almost. Braylon Harrison might be medium elite. Yeah, this draft class looks very bad. Booze looks pretty good though as a 2-year out guy. I was looking at him before. You know what? Booze might end up being a better pick. He might be a low elite, but he might also just be like a medium top 9 that's like 70 overall. So I'm a bit skeptical about all these players. There's a good top 6 playmaker. Sylvain Turgeon, that's actually hilarious. For you, those of you that didn't know, I think I mentioned last episode, maybe I didn't, but he is the, in real life, there is a Sylvain Turgeon who played for the Ottawa Senators back in the early 90s, the brother of Pierre Turgeon. That's kind of funny. I'm going to pin him in case. He might be a decent pick for a first rounder, but we might honestly want to go for somebody else. There's an OFD right there too. He's 19 years old, but only top 4 potential. I don't really know. Since he's 19 years old already, it might not be a great pick. But anyways, let's take a look at what Tampa's gets at number 1. They get the offensive defenseman in Chance. Wouldn't have this been nice if our team was so bad that we were able to get this guy? Because that would have been the puck-moving defenseman we needed for these final years. But unfortunately, we're not going to have a first overall pick probably ever again. Boston at 2 is going to take Pinot, who's only a high top 6, 70 overall. Either Boston just made a very terrible pick, or this draft class is terrible. Let's see. Oh yeah, they did make a bad pick. Okay, Davidson 79, DFD. Not something that we really needed anyways. Ottawa at 4 takes 90, who is a 72. Okay, yeah, this draft class is not good. Because if a 72 overall medium elite is going in the top 5, there is a general chance that this is a very weak draft class. And 70 from Donaghy. Yeah, this is not a good class, guys. A lot of these dudes are not NHL ready. Like, I would say Davidson definitely could play. And then Chance definitely could play. But Pinot isn't NHL ready. Nighty's not. Donaghy isn't. Like, this might be a very tough draft class for us to actually get some good prospects in. But we're definitely going to take our time with this draft here if we can. Let's sim to our pick at 23 and see what's available. We're going to call our first timeout here. I wish there was 7 timeouts so I could take out a timeout every single round. But Bobrovsky just went to Florida. He's a good center playmaker, top 6 forward. Before that, Riley went as well. I was looking at Riley. Any huge steals, though? It doesn't look like it. But there are some good top 6 forwards and top 4 defenders going. And medium elite went 9th overall, 64 overall. It's a pretty good steal. And then there's another offensive defenseman in Zancanaro. Man, it would have been nice to get an offensive defenseman for his team. But let's see, what do we got here? So We could either go for like any of these guys that I just pinned, or I could go for somebody off the board like Booze, who looks like he's going to be really good. He's listed as guaranteed to be 2 years out. So that makes me feel like he's actually like a low elite. Because a normal top 6 forward that's like a 65 overall would probably be, I'm going to assume, going to be like a 3-year out ETA, because I'm pretty sure most top 6 forwards are 3 years out. Some of them might be 4 years out. So I think that guy actually is a low elite that's a few years out. Would it be nice to draft Sylvain Turgeon? Probably. But he's a generic top 6 that's probably like a 65. That low elite could be a 65 if he is a low elite. There's also that offensive defenseman. But to be honest, I don't really know if he's worth grabbing because he's only top 4. He looks like he could definitely help us out offensively, but it's a bit of a reach considering he's not supposed to go for like 30 picks almost around. Like, if we're lucky, we might be able to get him in the next round, but I doubt it. Is there any good offensive defenseman around that stage or other good picks around that stage for our second rounder? Ooh, there is Doyle. Doyle could be intriguing for our next pick, too. And there was also Ramo, who we pinned, too. There's a 2-way, might be low elite. And then there was a medium elite gem goaltender, but he's 19. Yeah, I think we're going to go for, not for Turgeon in this round. I think we're going to definitely go for that guy that could be a low elite. Manny Booze. We do have a Booze already on our team. Might as well add another. Yeah. He's definitely a smaller guy, so that makes me feel like, actually, no, he's a forward. I was going to say he's an offensive defenseman, but makes me feel like he's definitely a playmaker like it's showing, because there's those type of players that are smaller are usually more skilled guys, so he's definitely a playmaker or a sniper, I think. Not a two-way forward, not a power forward. And definitely if you look at his stat line, he put up 46 assists and only 16 goals. I know it's generic, but I think that shows that he's definitely more of a pass-first dude. And he looks very balanced as a passer, so we don't really necessarily need more left wingers, but if we wanted to grab a left winger, I think Booze would be the guy. He's guaranteed to be 2 years out. He's 2 bar out of 4 low elite. I'm just hoping he's not just a top 6 forward that's like a 70 overall. I would prefer low elite here. So Manny Booze is going to be our pick, I think, here. Not a defenseman. And maybe Booze could take faceoffs too. That would be really nice. But Manny Booze is going to be our first round pick here. And he is a low elite 68 overall playmaker. That's exactly what I was hoping for. That's a massive pick there. He's almost NHL ready as well, so he will probably make our team before the end of the series. And yeah, he's pretty balanced. He actually does have decent faceoffs. It's not terrible faceoffs, but it's not great either. 71 is usable as a centerman if we really want to, but that's a nice little pick there. Hopefully he could develop to being like a Habscheid or better. That would be really nice. Let's see what we missed out on, though. Svedberg, 63 top 6. That's mid. Kind of. Osborne, 64 top 4. Harrison was 63. Yeah, so we just missed out on some generic guys. I didn't really need that medium elite goalie. It's kind of pointless. There's another top 6 forward going. Prince, the OFD. Oh, this was an OFD we didn't even look at. He's only medium top 6 potential, so it would have been pointless to take that guy if we even knew him, though, because top 6 demon don't really do much. McCarron's top 4. Kluberton's top 9. And then Tamara is top 6. Yeah, this isn't looking like the best draft class, so I'm glad we got who we got with our first round pick. That 2-year ETA definitely helped me quite a bit. Okay, let's take a look at what went before our pick just to see if we missed out on anything interesting here. There was Belfoy. 66 overall is not bad, but he is 19 already. That's the only thing. But this is the offensive defenseman I was thinking about picking in our first round, but I went for the left winger instead. I think I like our pick better, to be honest. Even if we do need the top 4, our offensive defenseman. Sylvain Turgeon ended up getting drafted by Ottawa too. That's hilarious. Oh, man. Shout out to that. Medium elite goaltender. Not that we need that. Yeah, this draft class is probably just going to get worse and worse. It's going to be harder and harder for us to actually get something good here. Let's actually take a timeout again, because I did take a little bit of time to go back. I probably won't look at what the other teams end up drafting for the next few rounds, but I'm enticed on Doyle, but he is 20 years old. And then Ramo, who's 3-bar low elite. He's not even guaranteed to be a two-way defenseman. He could be an OFD because of his size. And he is potentially a low elite, which has me interested. So I think I'm leaning towards Ramo over Doyle just because of Doyle being already 20. And if we compare the two, it looks like Doyle is more better. But the thing is, he's also 2 years older, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah, I think it's got to be Nico Ramo here. You got to take a look at what other players are going around this stage, though, just in case. We don't really need that medium elite goalie because he's already 19. Sokolov could be a low elite, but no guarantees. What else we got here? Biron. Looks decent. Maybe more of a top 6 forward he is. Just got to do our due diligence, though. A lot of these guys are probably just going to be top 9s and top 6 demons, so they're not going to be that great. Jody Barney, what a name. He's probably a medium 4, maybe a medium 6. It's his 4 years out. Ralph Piteni, what a name. There's also Alexi, who we pinned. It looks decent. Might be a good low lead steal for next round if we are able to. There's also Braun. Oh yeah, okay, so there's still some good low leads potentially that we're able to get next round. But we'll probably leave those for now. Those could also go before our pick, though, which kind of sucks. But that's part of the draft in general. So I think we already have our selection here. I think it's going to be Ramo. He's the highest projected. He looks like he could be a low elite defenseman. He also could be just a generic top 6 defenseman, which would really suck. But honestly, we have to take a risk here. Like I said, he could be an offensive defenseman as well. He's 2 years younger than Doyle, so I'm hoping that by the time he's Doyle's age, he's a lot better. So even though Doyle could be an OFD for sure, but he's already 20. That's the only thing. So Nico Ramo is going to be our selection here. And he is a low elite as well. Let's go. We are doing our due diligence here, and it's paying off. This might be one of our better drafts in a while. Nico Ramo, he's AHL eligible as well, but I don't know if I would rush him in right away. 61 at 18. That's a pretty good starting overall. Sucks that he's not an offensive defenseman, but the fact that he's a two-way is decent enough too. Gives us more puck movers on our blue line, which is nice. What about that other guy that was 20 years old? He's only a medium top 6. See, that's why I didn't take a chance with him. He's a 63 at 20 compared to the 61 at 18. Ramo should easily be closer to 70s by the time he's the same age. My guess, he could even be NHL ready by that time. So that it was a good pick there. Our next pick at 89. What did we miss out on? Just want to make sure that we didn't miss out on anything crazy here. Which we might have, but it is what it is. Yeah, not a lot of these guys are that great. Let me go after our pick as well here in this round. So far, we're doing good, though. I'd say. Just got to keep up this momentum in terms of finding those low elite players. Yeah, we didn't really miss too much, I'd say, after our selection. Now there should be a couple pin guys, right? Yep, there's Alexi, there's Braun. I'm leaning more towards Braun, I think, to be honest. Because a lot of these other guys are pretty mid. So I think it's got to be between these two guys. So let's look at Alexi here. Looks like 3 potential beast related stats and 4 years out. And then we have Braun, who's got 3 B- stats, 4 years out as well. Is there anything that I could look at? A lot of weaknesses on Braun, so he might be a low elite, but a very low overall. No weaknesses on Alexi is quite interesting, but we did draft a lot of left wingers, and we already have a lot in our lineup. It would be nice to get a good right winger. Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Felix Braun. Just because of the fact he's a right winger via a left winger. Like, we have so much left wingers that it kind of makes sense for us to draft a right winger here. So, even though technically I think Alexi might be better, I'm going to go for Braun here and hope that he's decent. Let's see, Felix Braun. Low top 6. Oof, okay, yeah, this draft class is dipped off. I don't think the other guy's going to be a low elite, but 60 at 17 is not bad. So this guy could pan out, but I don't know if he has the time really to develop into that. What is the other guy, though? Did we make the wrong selection? Or did we make the right choice? Let's see. Another low 6 going there. And Sanchez, Henry, medium 6. Low 6 and Alexi. See, Alexi is not really much better. He's also low 6. He is a slight bit better, I think, in overall, right? Yeah, 2 points better overall-wise, but I don't think it's going to really make much of a difference because they don't really have that great of a potential anyways. Let's send to our next pick at 122. We might start to make our selections a bit quicker just because I don't want this episode being crazy long. And we still have a lot of off-season stuff to go. So I know some of you guys are okay with over an hour-long episodes, but I know some of you guys don't have the attention span or the time and date to actually sit through an hour-long. So, I mean, you could watch that 2 times speed, I guess. But, medium starter that's 20 years old. I don't know if I really want to have something like that. 5 years out of 20 is not ideal. He'd be probably more of an AHL starter. A lot of bottom 6 forwards supposed to go at the stage as well. So this draft class is definitely going to be tough for us to find good players in. So I think we're just going to take chances on random guys that could be low elite. Just because we don't honestly know now. So let's go back to this area. So Galena definitely is supposed to go around this stage. We could take Sexsmith next round, but he's 19 already. He actually looks pretty decent though. 5 years out. It's not great. Sloan, we don't really need goalies. Sergei Sharov is actually supposed to get drafted around this point too. Might be a lowly defenseman, but he might not be as well. And then there's Bill Lampkin, who doesn't look good. So I'm going to take a chance with Sharov here, because might as well. We've already drafted a good Sharov late in the draft before. So we'll take Sharov here, and we'll probably end up going with like Sexsmith next round. So Sergei Sharov, so the second sheriff, welcome aboard. He's a low top 60. Yeah, this draft class is definitely dipped off. This is pretty much exactly where he's supposed to go, as you can see, based on overall and potential. Yep, this is definitely dipped off a lot, but that's okay. That's okay. We made a good couple hits early on, and then we're definitely not going to be able to find probably much here in these late stages. Yeah, this guy doesn't look good, but he doesn't have any weakness, which is interesting. Yeah, I gotta go for Sexsmith here. He actually looks like he could be a lowly power forward, based on the fact he has good shooting and all that, but he is 19, that's the only problem, so he might not be that good. The 5-year ETA is not great either, being 19, but we'll take a chance on Sexsmith here. Hey, he is a low elite, let's go. Okay, wasn't expecting that. Low elite, 19 years old, 62 overall as well. Hey, that's a pretty good pick. He might be NHL bound within a 2-year span or something like that. I like it. A lot of these guys are going to actually get maybe a good chance at making it into the NHL before then, which is nice. Or some of them might just barely miss out on getting their first NHL action, but we have 3 low elites in this draft and they're all above a 60 overall, so we're making some solid hits. The question is, can we find anything else in this draft? Probably not. We'll have to take a chance on these guys who could be elite players. So Galiev, there's also Brendan Almond. Let's go for Galiev because he's supposed to go earlier. Bottom 6 forward. Yeah, that's a bad pick. I mean, I would rather take him than I would take Hayes and stuff like that. So it's not a bad selection, I guess, for where it's supposed to go, but he's not going to be an impact player at all. In our final pick of this draft, can we find the craziest steal? Probably not. Let's go through player attributes and stuff like that and see if there's anybody with good attributes for our last pick. This guy might have okay shooting, but he's 20. Is there anybody, though, that actually screams like really good? This guy has decent stats. He's 18. He looks like a low top 6, though. What else we got here? This guy might be decent. Koltsov. This guy's a guaranteed low 4 OFD. I've had some really successful ones, low 4 offensive defensemen before. The first player that comes to mind, or the only player that comes to mind, is Griffin in my Houston Sharpshooter series like 2 years ago. I'm going to take Edwin Wiseman here. Low 4 offensive defenseman. Maybe he gets a chance to develop into being something really good. So it does give us that OFD we need, but he's a 49. He's likely a long shot at making it before the end of the series, but maybe if he gets a crazy amount of growth, gets into the AHL, he'll do well. So there's our draft. I'd say it was a pretty good draft considering. Obviously, we didn't hit really super well late on in the draft, but Booze, Ramo, and Sexsmith I'd say we're really solid picks, which makes this draft, I think, one of our best we've had in a while. So there is our draft. Now we got to get into the important stuff with the re-sign stage. Yeah, we're not going to bring back Caden Lindros as the AHL head coach. I might honestly replace the entire AHL coaching staff this offseason. And our NHL goalie coach, I might replace some of our coaching. Do I want to bring back our goalie coach in the NHL? Let's see. I guess I could do it for now, but I'm gonna definitely look at the coaching options and stuff like that after we get through the re-sign stage. But let's bring back our goalie coach, and then yeah, we're gonna let go of Lindros and find ourselves a new AHL head coach. We also could replace Chapman potentially too. Yeah, I think I might honestly replace both of the AHL coaches. So yeah, let's release Lindros. Yeah, we're gonna look for a full new AHL coaching staff, I think, just because I think it would be really beneficial for the young guys. And then we got some scouts to bring back. Obviously, we're gonna bring these scouts back for now, but if there's better replacements out there, they might get replaced. So let's sign these all up. There's only 2 of them, which is good. Okay. So, re-sign stage. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. And then why do we get notified that we fired our own coach? Doesn't really make sense. Re-sign stage. Let's see what we could do here. We got only 23 million, so we actually don't have a ton of cap space. We do have the cap space to bring back everybody, but it's not great. This is the second last year of Habshai being an RFA, so we'll probably just end up qualifying all of our RFAs for now. Hopefully teams do not decide to go after them. That's the one thing. So we'll qualify all these guys. And then we have Burkov and Michelli. Michelli does want a one-way contract, but he's... Yeah, I could give him a one-way contract, but I'm going to qualify him as well. And then Mateo Burkov is one that I'm still not sure on. He only wants 8 million, but that eats up a ton of our cap space in terms of getting guys like Lassick and Sea-Doo back. That's the one thing. So I honestly might lean towards qualifying him and hoping that we don't have the cap space to sign him because of signing Lassick and stuff. So let's go to the bottom of this list. We are going to let go of some of these prospects because some of them don't have the greatest potential in the world. So Cahill was a second rounder. He's up to a 65 at 20. That's not ideal. I don't think he's going to make it. Yeah, I don't think he's going to make it. We're going to let this guy go. And Nespina 69 at 21 is a low 9. It isn't crazy bad. He does actually have fantastic passing numbers. But he is 21. So yeah, he's going to get let go of as well, I think. Yeah, I don't think we have the roster space for him. Okay, now this is the other interesting stuff. The UFAs. Sharov wants a 2-way contract. We'll try and give it to him and see if he accepts, because I'm okay with Sharov staying here until he retires if he wants 2-way contracts. Kozlov, on the other hand, might be let go of. Yeah, Kozlov's going to be let go of again. We did just bring him back, but he's going to be let go of for now. He might come back in the offseason or at the end of the actual offseason, just because of the fact that we might need more depth. But for now, he's going to be let go of. And then we have, and then we're also going to let go of Daniel McLaren. He was in the AHL, I think. We are going to let him go as a depth defenseman, just because I would rather use some of the other AHL defenders instead of him. So we are going to let him walk. And then we also do have like some other AHL guys that could crack our lineup. Hartman only wants a 2-way deal, so we're going to try and give these guys their 2-way deals if they want it. Cracknell wants a 1-way. He likely could be a depth defenseman or playing on our blue line next season, so I'll just give it to him. But I think the one player that definitely is going to be gone is going to be Anderson, and he might get replaced by Hartman. Because Anderson only being 26, he hasn't really done that much. He also has been taking a lot of penalties, which might be hurting our team a bit in terms of actually being able to not be in the box so much. He's kind of a mid player. He used to be medium elite potential, but he has not reached that. So we're going to let him go. Maybe he'll be still there at the start of the season. We could use him as a depth forward, but for right now, he's going to be gone. In terms of our other players, let me actually start with the goaltenders. Let's get Sims under contract for the AHL. Solis, what are you wanting? $6 million bucks. Oh my. Okay. And what is Sea-Doo wanting? 11.275 on an 8-year deal. Oh my god. These guys want term and a ton of money. I'm going to have to look at the 85% trick. We're honestly going to be very tight cap-wise. Like, I know Logan said we have the cap space to get all these guys, but I honestly don't think we're going to be able to. So I think Burkov, letting him go, is going to be something we might want to do. But since he's an RFA, I might honestly qualify him if we don't have any cap space available. Because we can't free up cap space and then hope that a team claims him, or else he might sit out as an RFA for the entire year because we don't have the cap space. But let's see what we could do here. So let's start off with Lasic, I think. Yeah, let's start actually. Yeah, Lasic. What are you wanting again for? What are you wanting for 3 years? It does not change unless we go to 1 year. I honestly might have to do 1 year deals with these guys. So let's do 1 year deals for both of them. Damn, I mistyped. I'm using my phone right now to try and figure out what 85% we could do with them. So we'll times by 0.85. So I think I might be able to get Lasic down to a 1 year deal at like 10.2. So we'll try that. So yeah, 10.2 for 1 year. And then Sea-Doo for a year. What are you wanting? Okay, you're also dropping your asking price for a year. That's good. Man, I hate it when I mistype stuff on my calculator. 10,875. We're going to times that by 0.85. And looks like we could get them down to like 9.25. So if both these guys are willing to accept these 1 year deals, that would be huge for us. I hope that they don't want to get overpaid. 10.25 we said. So somewhere around that should work. Which is $19 million still in cap space, though. Which almost makes us not have the money for Solis. Yikes. Oh my. We actually might have to let go of one of those guys. Hopefully one of them rejects in no sense, because I honestly don't think we might have the cap space for them. At least not right now. Because, yeah, I think we might honestly not have the cap space now for Solis if these two accept. And then Burkov, we'd have to hope his asking price drops off a cliff. We might have to run the 2 AHL goalies next season based on that. Let me advance a day. We might have to buy somebody else out here too. Okay, it looks like Richard does not want to be our goalie coach, which is okay for now. Let me just go through this quickly, see any rejections. Lasic and Sea-Doo both rejected. I don't think there's a way to bring back all of them. I know you guys were saying to bring back both of them, but I don't know if there is a way to. Because with $23 million in cap space, even with what we're typing up on the 85% trick, we're still paying like $19 million out of our $23 million in cap space. And we still have all of these RFAs to give contracts to. I mean, Habshai's going to be the most expensive. He's going to be like $2 million, $3 million bucks. And then Solis is going to be like $4 million for a year. Burkov is going to cost a bit if he actually wants to accept. I got to prioritize one of these guys. The other one has to go. I think that's the way it has to work right now. I just got to see through their stats on what I would prioritize, because I know our defensive core has guys that want to come up and make it. It does make our defensive core weaker, but on paper, maybe that's what we need. We do also have a lot of defensive defensemen, so I think I'm prioritizing Lasic. I like Lasic's production. He's only going to get signed still for a 1 year deal potentially, but I do like Lasic quite a bit better. His playoff numbers have also been pretty good. When you look at like Sea-Doo, he's been a great defensive defenseman for us during the regular season, almost a plus 200. But his playoff numbers, he's been a -2, so he hasn't been the best player for us in the postseason. He is listed as a top 2 defender, so this is probably going to hurt quite a bit. But I honestly don't think we have the cap space to sign both these guys. So I am going to try and sign Lasic here. He's my priority. And we're going to go 1 year deal. And we are going to... What did I offer him last time? I got to do the 85 or 90% on this contract instead. Because if I do 90%, maybe we'll be able to get him to accept. But yeah, there's no way we're able to... yeah, both these guys, I don't think. Unless we were to buy somebody out on our roster, but I don't think that's something I want to do. 10.265 was 85%. Damn, I wanted to not go to 85%. I want to go 95% or something like that. We might have to just give him what he's wanting for a year. So let me see. Let's do 95%. Yeah, we should be able to get him for this. 1 year at 11.475. And if he accepts that, then we are pretty good in terms of who we want to bring back. Solis, though, as well, though, could end up being gone because of this asking price. That's the only thing. I'm honestly thinking about letting go of Solis, and then obviously since we have the RFA status with Burkov, we should be able to get him down for less. And then Michelli could be the backup because of our cap situation. So I honestly might let go of Solis as well. But let's see if Vlasic will accept first. Oh, it looks like he did, because there is a notification on top. Nicely done, Vlasic. Vlasic has came back. Sherov still rejecting, so I guess he wants a one-way deal, which is not ideal, but that's okay. Let me try and get him for still dirt cheap. 1 by 1. And then, yeah, Sidu is probably not coming back. Same with Solis. Because, yeah, let's do that. And, yeah, we'll qualify Burkov to get his asking price down. I'm just hoping no team goes after those guys. But, yeah, Sidu has to go. Solis has to go. So we are making our team weaker defensively and goaltending-wise. But it's because of the cap constraint. And like I said, we do have guys that could jump up because of Sidu leaving. Like we could run Kolsnik, Booze, Boys, Paco. Hartnell could jump up. Bursch could jump up. Cracknell could jump up. Mangone. Like there's a lot of guys that could get an opportunity because of this. So I do not mind letting go of Sidu. Some of you might not like this decision, but I think it's probably for the best. And then, yeah, Solis. It kind of sucks to let him go, but I mean, he deserves to be in his starting goaltender somewhere else because he's been living behind Burkov. But if Burkov becomes a free agent next offseason, we're going to have to probably end up running Budens and Michelli. I might run actually Budens as our backup this coming season instead of Solis. Michelli could use another year in the AHL with Sims as well. So I'm okay with that. I think making those decisions makes sense for this team. Let's just see if the Sheriff accepts, which he does. So there you go. He accepts a 1 by 1. We have $13 million left to sign our RFAs, which hopefully all of them accept for a decent amount to hopefully keep us afloat cap-wise. So, yeah, Sidu, thank you for your time here. When did we even draft you again? First overall or something like that? Third overall. Thank you for your time here, but we honestly don't have the money to spend on you, unfortunately. So that's a pretty big loss. And also Solis, when did we draft you? Third round in 2031. He was the better of the two goalies in the playoffs as well, but there's nothing we could really do about it. We could always bring him back instead of the RFA goalie, but if the RFA goalie is going to accept like a contract, it could hurt us in terms of not being able to bring back Habscheid. There's nobody on this team I want to buy out, I don't think. Let me just double check and make sure there's nobody I would buy out. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. And also we're freeing up cap space for Del Rivera to re-sign him at the end of the season, so yeah, I think I'm okay with it for now. Definitely our team is going to look weaker on paper, but that might be what we kind of need to be, is a bit weaker on paper. So Solis, thank you for your time here as well. And yeah, this team going through some pretty big changes, but we had to do it. At least all these RFAs should be able to come back, which is good. But hopefully there's some former players in free agency that were able to pick up as depth options in case at the start of the season. Some of the RFAs are already accepting, which is good. And we do got to replace our AHL coaching staff still. We do also got to look for some scouts. So apologize about the length of this episode, but let's take a look at free agents here. See what's available, if there's any former players here. Okay, there is Sonnenberg, but obviously we're not bringing back the Sonnenberg. That's actually kind of funny that he's back in free agency. So we could have went for him instead of bringing back our current goaltender. There's also Solis, again, obviously. Any other former players intriguing? Doesn't look like, what's his name that we just played dropped. So, yeah, not really seeing much goalie-wise. Defensively, let me take a look at this. Obviously, Sidu's there. Oh, Rizzy's there. That's interesting. But he's probably going to get paid. We don't have the money to spend on him. We aren't paying him $6 million bucks, especially when we have our RFAs to deal with. I wonder if there's going to be anybody at the start of the season, though, that we could sign as a depth piece. That would be great. Yeah, not really seeing much on the defensive side of things. Right wing wise, any former players? No, does not look like it. It's not that I could recognize. Yeah, not really seeing anybody still. That's okay, though. Like I said, we don't have the cap space really to spend anyways. It's just more just checking to see what we could have probably brought back. But one of these years, we're going to definitely have to bring back some good players in free agency. As usually, that's what I kind of do with my draft declares, is after a while, just bringing back some good former players to just go for another run. And center-wise, not really seeing anything either. Yeah, there's not really much former players out there. Anderson's trying to get 2.75, but it's funny. Okay, let's get the HL coaching staff dealt with. And we will go down here. I could replace the NHL coaches as well, but I don't know if it's necessary. I might honestly leave a coaching spot vacant in the AHL just so we could kind of reorganize our coaches a bit, and then we could sign one up in next episode, which I obviously, like I said, I'd pre-record. But yeah, let's look and see if we could find ourselves a good AHL head coach, as well as maybe some more coaches for the NHL, because we do have an assistant spot and a goalie coach spot. At 67 is good. That used to be our head coach at one point. We're going to bring back a couple good coaches, like these two coaches that are the best available. We are going to bring them back. I don't know if he's going to accept this, but we're going to just give him a boatload of money to be our assistant coach. This guy used to be our head coach at one point, like I said, but bringing him in would help out our team a lot. So we're just going to keep overpaying on the best coaches available, and we'll find out which one is the best available. 65 is also decent, so which one works better with Wilm? It's going to be Len Lupel. So we'll go with Len Lupel as the NHL goalie coach, even though he doesn't teach goalies right now. And then we could reorganize this at the start of next season. And we'll also hire ourselves an AHL head coach. I think it is. Yeah, AHL head coach and associate coach. And we'll leave the assistant spot vacant. And then we will look at addressing that afterwards. Okay. What about AHL wise? 38, 41, 43 is pretty good. Let's go with 43. Actually, let's just go for the best available, to be honest. Yeah, let's just go for the best available. And actually, they're all B- though, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. So let's go to Andre Kuda as the AHL head coach for now. Obviously, it could get reworked on who's the AHL head coach and all that stuff still too, but let's just find a couple good coaches. And you're 41, so you could be the associate. And we'll hope that this could help out our AHL team's chemistry a bit. There we go. So a bunch of coaches, their contracts have been offered. Let's also take a quick look at scouts and see if there's any better scouts out there. We do still have a lot of B scouts. Is there any good A scouts? No, there is not. No A scouts. But we do have some Bs that we can bring in. So let's sign all these B-rated scouts, and we'll have to let go of some ones from our NHL team. So we'll get this all set up. Man, we're almost an hour into this episode already. Goddamn. But I probably had to make some cuts because my throat constantly just dies on me. Okay, so how much scouts was that we just offered contracts to? 7. Okay. So we could let go of our 7 worst scouts, which I think are all B-. Or actually, they're not much better. So honestly, I'm just going to let it sit that we offer those scouts contracts and that they're all going to reject because we don't have the space available, because honestly, they're not much better. They're not much better. There's no A-rated ones, so I thought we had B- ones, so that's why I was looking to replace them, but I guess it's because of the A-. But you can see we actually have a pretty good scouting pool. We're starting to build that up quite a bit again. So there's that. Let's advance a few days just to see if those coaches accept, because that would be enticing if they do. And then hopefully our phase accepts zone 2. Nickerson is in, which is good. So that's our former head coach. And Lupel decides to go to Boston, so we're going to have to find another new coach. Kuda jumps in as the AHL head coach. And yeah, I know I don't have all the space for all you scouts. I'm sorry that I offered you contracts, but I thought that I had B- scouts. Now we're going to get notifications for no reason, which is kind of annoying. Let me see. Let's see. Coaching staff. So we need still an assistant, was it? No, it was a goalie coach. Oh, yeah. He didn't want to be a goalie coach. That kind of makes sense. Let's just look for actually the best goalie coach in terms of teaching, maybe. If there's any out there, which I don't. There is one here. A-. Tenkrat. Okay, Tenkrat's going to be our goalie coach, I guess. So to do that, I like that you can just go over budget when you don't have owner mode on. It's really nice. Makes it a lot easier. And then we need to still the wait on our associate coach in the AHL was the other guy that didn't get back to us yet. He'll probably accept. Yep, there he is. There's one Tenkrat, and I think we offered another contract to a different Tenkrat as well, which is kind of funny. I wish I didn't offer those contracts to the scouts because it's kind of annoying seeing those pop up and realizing that we don't even need them. Yep, there's the other Tenkrat. So we have two Tenkrats in our coaching staff, which is kind of funny. One's a black guy, one's a white guy, though. So we should be good coaching-wise. Yep, we're good on coaches, except for obviously the assistant because we want to reorganize our coaching staff accordingly. And we're good on the scouts as well. We have a 75% staff chemistry, which is pretty good. Now the question is, how long is it going to take for our RFAs to accept their contracts? And hopefully none of them get a qualifying offer from another team that hurts us cap-wise. Bear White has accepted. Let's stop the sim and see if any of them have dropped their asking prices a lot. We have 13 million still in cap space. We're still waiting on these guys. Let's see if their asking price has dropped. Burst only wants 875. You got it. That's actually cheap as heck. Fragapane only wants 875. You got it. Habshy, what do you want? 2.475. Burkov wants still 7 million, so that's 9 million of our $13 million we have. Michelli wants 875. So we'll get those guys signed up. We'll wait on Burkov and Habshy a tiny bit longer. But obviously not too long term because there are also other teams might want to just poke the bear at us for fun. Let's see. So those 875 guys are going to be really cheap. Oh, a Fragapane got a 955 offer for 1 year. Let's just match it. That's a cheap contract anyways. That sucks. So we offered him 875, but he got a 970 or 955 deal. Yeah, if somebody's going to go after Fragapane, people are definitely going to be going after our goaltending and Habside. So I got to get these guys signed up. 2475 and Burkov wants 6.825 now. You got it. You got it. So that would leave us with not a lot of cap space. So we might have been able to get some guys other than who we let go of back, but like Solis, for example. But I don't know for sure. And I had to not take that chance that we wouldn't have had the cap space for these guys. Hey, nice. We got them all back. And how much cap space do we got on the dot? We have 6.685. So yeah, we could have brought back Solis. But we are going to give Bodens an opportunity, which I think is nice. Michelli and Sims in the AHL. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. And it does give us more flexibility in terms of our future off seasons, because now, as you look, we have all these big guys up for renewal this upcoming off season, and we can kind of like reorganize who we want to keep and who we don't. So, like Joel Weber's up for renewal, so that's going to take some money off the cap space a bit, but it's also going to make us a lot weaker. I'd probably let go of Weber over Lassick, to be honest, but I don't know. Okay. Let's begin the sim up to next season and obviously edit our lines first, and then we'll take a look at which coach is the best fit for our team's current lineup. And then that'll be it for this episode. So we'll probably be over an hour long by the time this episode is done, but I think it's a good primer for the 3 pre-recorded episodes. Hopefully we end up getting far in the playoffs when I pre-record, because that would be really nice. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, Ahinen's definitely going to be more of a third liner this year, I think. We're going to go with something like... trying to think of what... Oh, Raymond's in the lineup too. I don't mind Raymond being in the lineup, to be honest. Oh, wow, Habshide's low as heck too. None of these guys can take face-offs. That's the only problem about letting go of Anderson. I might have to call up somebody from the AHL. Yeah, Hartman's going to come up. Sharov's dropped down to a 73, which is not great. So yeah, that's not ideal. Considering I just gave him $1 million, but that's okay. Let's call up Hartman. Go best AHL lines for the time being. And let's take, who do we want to take out of the lineup here? Oh man, a lot of guys are listed as third liners. Holy crap. This is going to be very tough to balance. Trying to think of what we want to do here. Oh boy, trying to think. Raymond's more of a guy that would probably be better in terms of for like Habshide is. I honestly might send Raymond down to the AHL for another season. He has really good accuracy though, so he may be like kind of like what that one guy in my Jet series is like, Irving. But I don't know if I have a spot for him, so I'm gonna send Raymond back down, I think. Just because I need to get Hartman into that center spot. Yeah, I think I'm going to send Raymond down, and we're going to use Sherov still as a depth option for now. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. I just don't really want to have a sniper necessarily like him being on a fourth line technically. And I don't want to be scratching him at the NHL level either. That's the main reason why he's going down. At least for now. And then we will call up Sherov as a depth option, but he is getting passed by a lot of guys. Like Boucher is pretty much ready too. Dodge isn't going to develop much more. He's a 76 at 24. You know what? We're going to call up Evan Dodge instead of Sherov. He's going to be our depth option because he's a little bit better. And then we'll go edit lines in the AHL. So that's probably what I would run with NHL-wise, I think. Yeah, probably something like that. Oh, Layman actually should go down probably to the third line as well, because we were going to prioritize guys like Habshide a little bit. So we'll run something like this. Yeah, that could work. Obviously, our third line is very good, but it does balance out the X factors a bit. We will have to give these guys power play time, but that's exactly what I plan to do anyways. Defensively, the chemistry looks pretty balanced. Hey, Hartnell's up to an 81. See, that's why we had to let go of a guy. Burris jumping isn't bad either. Paco. Oh boy, these guys are scratched too. These guys should not be scratched. Because Fragapane is the top 6. Same with Mangone. Those guys might lose morale. Turnbull is listed as top 6 as well. Guessing Cardwell is a depth defenseman. That's actually not bad, but he is 21, so I wouldn't want to scratch him. Cracknell's listed as a top 6. I think we got to just keep those guys scratched. We might throw them in the lineup throughout the season, though. That's the thing. Wow, Booten's up to an 82, so that's not bad. We actually have a pretty solid-looking team for the guys we lost. Let me quickly adjust the power play a little bit here, too, which actually already looks decent. Because Ahinen needs to get that playing time. Layman should technically get that playing time as well, but he's going to have that second power play unit, so he is still going to be getting power play time. I don't mind how the way the AI has it set up, to be honest. That one not so much, but that's okay. We'll definitely take a look and compare it with the other coaches on who is the better coach for our team. But this coach seems to be pretty good. I don't know what the actual team fit is right now, but there we go. And then AHL-wise, let's see what we got in terms of our lineup. Hey, chemistry actually looks pretty good already, too. So that's actually a nice thing to see. And yeah, Michelli's an 80 overall, so he will probably be an NHL goalie next season, and we might honestly let go of Burkov at that point, depending on how he does this year. So I think everything's pretty good in terms of setup, at least it looks like. But let's definitely take a look at our coaches and see who has the better team fit in the NHL. And then that'll be probably all we do in this episode for the rest of it. But let's see. So Melikar, who's more of a defensive coach, he was our coach last year, is only 63. Let's demote him for the time being. See how good Peros is as our head coach. 59, that's not very good, to be honest. What about the main guy that we just hired up? Let's see. 60% only. Okay. Well, maybe it's not going to be our head coach, and maybe it's still going to be the same guy. We could also take a look at Tankrat just for fun, too, but Tankrat, 59. What about our AHL head coach? What is he looking like as the NHL head coach? 59, not great either. We want to take a look at the other tank rat. He is a 60. Hey, that's not bad, to be honest. And yeah, so it seems like Melakar is still going to be our head coach in the NHL, which is interesting because I wasn't expecting him to be our head coach still, but yeah, that's not bad. 63 works well with pretty much everybody except for the rookie in Hurtnell, which is not great, but that's okay for now. I don't think there's really much better out there, to be honest, so that should be fine. Let me look at the coaches available again just to see if there's anybody that might be better out there. I don't think there will be still, but gotta double check anyways. Hey, Phil Kessel? Yeah, Phil Kessel. 60%. Anybody better than a 63? Does not really look like it. There is a 64, but that's not that big of an increase. Oh, there's a 65 all the way down here, but this guy's a B- coach. He's still developing as a coach too, so I wouldn't probably bring him in, but there is that. And I think that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Halifax Raiders Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll simulate the season, and probably this team makes it back to the playoffs, but obviously the question really is still, how long do we make the playoffs for? Reminder that the next 3 episodes are pre-recorded, so I'll probably end up recording those like shortly after I record this video, so that way I can have those all ready to go for next week. But let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.